And there we go. Well, we're going to stop the timer because we're early. But it's 7 o'clock, and this is episode 000 of the Wild Yenta I'm Not a Designer series. My name's Dennis. I'm coming to you live from mid-Missouri. I've been in the dye sub business for almost 6 months. Been in the print business for a decade, but I'm a maker. I take other people's designs, put them on stuff. I can take pieces of other people's designs and put them together to help someone get what they need, but otherwise I'm not a designer. Thank you. My countdown is done. So what I'm going to do during this series, hopefully I get some viewers. If not, oh well, I'll do it anyway. I'm going to take a item and a theme, hopefully from viewer input, and then I, the non-designer, will throw some designs on it and see what I get. Will they be good? Don't know. We'll let everyone else decide. But for those of you who are going to follow me, and hopefully some of you do, what I'm using for my design software is Sawgrass Technologies Creative Designer. I have a Sawgrass Virtuoso SG800 with the additional paper deck, so I can print 1319. So I'm pretty unlimited. I have a Heat Press Nation 16 by 20 Signature Series heat press. I also have a 6-in-1 mug press. Mostly what I specialize in is hard surfaced dye sub. Mugs, tiles, mouse pads, frames, the hard surfaces, not the clothing. Can do the clothing, choosing not to at this point in time. So what we're going to start with is, I'm going to assume that if you've bought the printer, you've installed all the software, you've installed the Virtuoso Print Manager, and the Creative Studio is actually an online component. So after you've installed the printers in a Windows 10 environment, I cannot speak to Mac, I don't do Mac. Down here under your running programs in the background, you'll have a little Virtuoso Print Manager. It'll be scanning your system all the time. If you right click on it, you'll see you have plenty of options here. And the top one is Creative Studio Designer. We click on that, excuse me. That will take us to the sawgrassinc.com online design portal. Sometime today. Okay. I'm not used to having these sort of delays. Maybe I picked a bad day to go to their system. Nope, you'll come to the Creative Studio login. Well, that works good. I've got mine to automatically log myself in. On their website, there's a ton of how-to videos, tutorials, troubleshooting. Their customer service, I haven't needed it, but so far, from what I've heard, it's very responsive. So we come over to the right and we say Launch Creative Studio Online Designer. We'll open up a new tab. First thing that pops up is a product wizard. This is great if you know what you want to do, which this time we do. It lists, boy, just about any product you can think of is listed here. So what we're doing today, we are doing drinkware. We're doing mugs. After you select that, you hit next. It's going to ask you, what do you want? And here again, it's going to list just about every mug that's out there. Now your supplier may call it something different. You just sort of have to look through to see what some was. There's your 10 or 11 ounce. Then we have an 11 ounce couples mug, which is, I believe, the one I want to work with. Again, you select the product you want to go to. You go to next. Select the product color. In this case, it's, as far as I know, it's only available in white. Then we're going to say, how are we going to lay this out? Are we going to do both mugs at once? 1 mug each. Okay. I prefer to do it both at the same time because I'm trying to do a continuous design. So I'm going to pick this letter vertical. It's going to lay out everything for me. And you click the Start Designer button. If you haven't seen these mugs before, heart-shaped handle. The mug on the right is a complete mug. It's a round cylinder, goes all the way around. The mug on the left has an indentation in it for the 2 mugs to sit together. That's why they call it the couples mug. Some of the other manufacturers have other names for it. So from here, we can go, we're going to say, let's see what templates do they have. Now, what it first does when it opens it is under your templates. You can save anything you design under your templates and pull them up again at a later date. I'm going to go here and say, let's see, do we have anything in the holidays? Valentine's Day. Now they have pre-made graphics. All sorts of pre-made graphics. Happy couple graphics. Hearts with arrows graphics. They have stuff that's made specifically for certain photo frames. A lot of the Unisub photo frames. They will have pre-designed Valentine's Day mugs. Which means if you just want to say Valentine's Day mugs, you can come here and crank these things off. No designing required. My perfect thing. You know, there's a candle holder. They've just got some really interesting, well done artwork. So I'm going to scroll through this and I'm going to sit there and say, we're doing a couple in love. So we've got this I love you here, which I sort of like the colors in it. Some of these, that I don't want. That's an actual heart. That one's actually sort of cool. Let's go. Actually, you know what? I like this one here. It says happy together. So I'm going to pick that. Now, if you notice, it's giant. It's way too big for these mugs. But if you also notice, it's made up of individual little components. A text component, and if you click on anything here, it'll highlight it down here. It's made of that text. There's a sailboat, you can't see it. There's the sun. So it's made of all these small components. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight all of it together. Now you'll notice that everything's selected and there's big. So what I want to do is I want to shrink this down. Over here underneath your list, object list, you have an expand and a shrink. So we shrink it down. Shrink, you shrink, you shrink. And we get it down to get a better idea of what we're doing. So I sort of like that. All right, remember this whole mug is going to stretch to around the entire mug, but the center part you're not going to be able to see. So it's not that important to see that center. So what I want to do is I'm going to unselect by selecting off the image. I want just the background because I actually like that continuity of color, and I'm going to stretch that out so that it covers the entire background of the main mug, the one that's mug shaped, not with an inset in it. We can select the people, the buildings, the water, the grass. So I'm going to take the grass and I'm going to stretch that all the way across. I'm going to take the city and I'm going to stretch that all the way across. I don't like the way that looks. See how it stretched that out? It's supposed to be the water. That doesn't look like the water. Oh, well, you know what? We're going to make it a little bit narrower then. So let's grab the sailboat and drop the sailboat down. Actually, we're going to move the sailboat all the way over there. Now we have the city. Well, we're going to want this as a repeating element. So I'm going to take the city, drop it to the water. Now we're going to take the city and we're going to come up here to the object drop down. The object drop down allows us to align objects, flip objects, move, or duplicate. So we're going to duplicate it. Now I have 2 cities. But I don't want to just copy, copy, copy. So now I'm going to just go back, selecting the second object. And I'm going to flip it horizontally. Now we have that, which I like better. It's buried behind, we don't matter. I just realized I didn't extend these off to this end. So we have to extend these out here. Now we got the upper clouds. That city's a little bit off. You can also use the arrow keys to move things around. Sometimes it's a little, takes too big of chunks. Let's see, what is, yeah, sometimes it's hard to select things, so I'm going to move this person down there just to get him out of my way. That's the city again. There's the sailboat, there's the sun. I want the sun to be on this side. That's the grass, that's the couple, there's the water, there's the city. Oh, when I made the copy of the city, if you notice, it popped up on top. It's actually above. All of this are, each item is on a level or a layer if you're used to regular layout software. It's up there. Doesn't matter much at this point in time, but we're going to handle it that way. We have a cloud there. We need to bring that. We don't want to stretch it. See, sometimes you can't grab it. The software is not that good. So in that case, we need to go to the zoom button. Zoom in a little bit. Now we should be able to, oh, we should have been able to grab it. Okay. In that case, we can't grab it. So what I need to do is undo what I did. Let me grab the cloud again. Now I can use the object move buttons. Okay. Because the item itself turns out to be too small to deal with, and that's one of the limitations you're going to run into with using a pre-assembled graphic software. You're sometimes just not going to be able to have the control that you would want to. Okay, so now we're back to there. We're going to zoom back out again. And we're going to take the happy couple. We're actually going to put them back. Standing at, see, like, you notice how they're falling behind the grass? Because they're supposed to be standing on the grass, right there. Okay. So now we've designed the main mug. Okay. Looks pretty good. Now we said we like the background color, so we're going to actually sit there. Oops, can't do that. See, you tend to right click when you're not paying attention. We need to duplicate it. And if you notice, it duplicated it on top, covered everything up. But that's all right because we're moving it down here. Now we're building the 2 bottom ones. So now we want to put text in there. Now one of the limitations of this software is when you put text in, you have a text box, it pops up a particular size. It's filled in with sample texts. So we're going to put in a name in. We're going to put in Joey. Changes it to Joey. Now to change the fonts in a text, you go under Object. You have a text font. Now they have hundreds of fonts in here. Athletic, block, bold, just handwritten, hand-drawn, shadow, vintage. The one main limitation, let's go back to this Happy Together. Happy Together. What's the font? There's no way to know. It doesn't tell you. Doesn't matter what you click on. Doesn't matter if you go here to text font. It doesn't tell you what the font is. So, if you have multiple, we're going to delete this. If you have multiple text boxes that you need to use the same font on, do one text box and set the font regardless of size, regardless of color. just set the font. Then when it's selected, you want to duplicate that font, that text box, and duplicate it the total number of times you need. So if you need it 3 times, you can copy it 3 times. If you notice, there's no differentiation. You actually have to click it to know which is which. So we're going to make this one. Now remember, when this prints out, we can choose which side this is going to go on. Okay, so I'm making it. I want to make it symmetrical so that it lays out together. So we're going to take this one. We're going to make it Joey and hit OK. If you don't hit OK, it won't change it. And we're going to make this one Rachel, and we'll put that one there. Now, if you notice, it's not squared. They're not the same height. So selected one text, hit Control and then Shift on the next. They're both selected. What we're going to do is we are going to align them horizontally to the design area, or align vertically to the design area. The problem with that is that drops it up there. Why is this doing this? Okay, why is it not doing what I want it to do? Am I hitting the wrong one? That aligns left, that aligns right. Oh, that's right. No, I'm doing this wrong. It's been a while since I laid out text on an object. But that's why we're doing a test, aren't we? So we're going to take one of them. And I haven't done anything split like this on, so I'm learning how to do these. We align that one vertically to design area. Align that vertically to design area. Now the problem is they disappear. Okay. Now we've got them. Now they're the same height. So now I can bring them in to here to get them the same height off the bottom. But what I just realized is I'd really like it to be bigger. I think their names need to be bigger. Now the nice way to control this is just, they were the same size. I click it once, twice, 3, 4 times. Now I center it. Hit Rachel 1, 2, 3, 4 times. A lot of this is by eye with this software. It's not design software. It's not Illustrator. It's not CorelDRAW. It's not Inkscape if you're into using the free stuff. You know, so there's compromises to be made. Now we've got them happy together with the man and the woman and the same color. And now we've got to figure out what of these, do we want to bring any of these elements in to down here? Well, what I'm thinking is I've just decided, since I use this one and I don't have clients for it, it was convenient that I would say, okay, they're from a city, let's say Chicago, and there's a sailboat, which means they like boats. So let's go and do an image search. So you don't have to select my images, it'll actually search your images, but I'm going to sit there and look for a boat. And it will search their entire image database and come back with all of the boats. That's not bad. Let's pick this boat. Now, of course, the boat is giant, but we will scroll down to our buttons and we will shrink it down. You can also grab the corner. Oops, see? The reason I don't like doing that is sometimes it slips. So I'm going to pick a boat and I'm going to put a boat above Joey. Now, of course, this doesn't go with our color scheme, does it? Not really. Well, if you notice down here, the object, I didn't cover that with the other things. The object has colors. We can click on that. It will bring up our color choices. Now, what we have here is the Sawgrass Color Sure default. These are colors. If you're using the supplied ICC profiles, these will print out this color every single time, always. And some of them are not that far apart. Okay. You can also have your own color palette. I have a few colors I've had to make on my own. But we're going to sit there and say that we want this. They're from Chicago. So one of them is probably a Cubs fan. I am not. So we will change the black color to the closest thing we have to what would be a Cubby blue. So if you notice, now the ship is blue with a red sail. Now what we're saying is Joey has a sailboat. We're going to give Rachel a sailboat. We're going to give her the same one. So we're going to pick the object. We're going to duplicate it. We're going to put it over here. Except Rachel is a White Sox fan. So for Rachel, we're going to change the sail to white and apply that color. And we're going to change the blue to black and apply that color. And we have a very quickly happy together. You know what? I just realized that. That's only going to show up on one side of the mug. And it's actually going to get chopped off right here. Okay, you got a third. The middle third is not going to be seen. So first thing I want to do is actually move that cloud over. So we need to check ourselves with the text. So realistically, almost need to design this twice. Hindsight being 2020. So we will, let's see. So I mean, you can even, with the couple, if you wanted to change their skin color, hair color, clothes, the designers have already made these for us. But yeah, I don't like where that text is going to land. So I could stack the text. I've actually never hit a hard return in one before. Yeah, it doesn't work. That didn't like that. So yeah, so every single line of text has to be its own line. So in order to do this happy together here, but then there's nothing on the other side of the mug. I don't want to split the words because that doesn't make sense. Let's just drag this off so it's not, I'll have it overlapped so I can see that it's still there. And that's not a bad design. It's going to put them a little close to the handle though. Because you got to assume a little bit of a bleed at the end. You won't get all the way to the edge. So move them in, sailboat. Let sailboat be bigger. A little more prominent. What am I going to do with this happy together? Of course, this isn't unique to a design software. Oh, thank you for telling me the printer's not ready. I already knew that. Designing on the fly. So well, that says his name there. So let's just say Rachel's on this side. Rachel. No, that's not going to work. Having it say happy or any words on there the way I'm laying this out isn't going to work. This mug has both of their names on it, rather than each mug having each of their names on it. Well, seems I've designed myself into a corner here. I've liked this. This is now not working for me. Okay. So let's take them, put them in. Just notice that I put the second city out there and it's up above where the couple is. So the city copied is there. In order to move that down, you can't drag it. You have to select it. You have to go to object and you have to go to move down. then move down. If you notice, it is moving down, then move down, and again, and again. And now it's finally behind the happy couple. Okay, so I'm going to bury the couple behind there. Going to bring happy together back. Oops, grabbed the wrong thing. Happy together. What is going on? I am not having good mouse control today. Yeah, it's just, it doesn't want to cooperate. Could be my computer. It could just be the software. Again, not desktop designing software. So we're going to center that. I can center that perfectly by setting align horizontally to design area. So that's right in the middle, you know. So I'm going to do that with the couple also. So now they're in the middle and happy together is in the middle. So now happy together and the couple will be inside. Joey and Rachel are on each side of the individual mug. So now what I want to do is I'm going to take Rachel and, oh, I think this will be great. Okay, let me take the cities. So, and this is one thing I don't like is I can't make a group. So I've selected both cities, but if I sit there and say object, align horizontally to design area, oh, it did work. They must have been a tweak. It used to get stuck. Except now it redid them and they're above again. Frustrating. Oh, that fixed it. That was weird. Okay, because here's what I think I'm going to do. I liked our little sailboat. I'm going to get rid of it. Delete. You can hit the delete key, or you can come up here and don't hit clear. Clear wipes out your entire design. Don't do that. So I'm going to take Rachel's sailboat, and I'm going to put it over here. I'm going to make it smaller. Not that small. About that small. I forgot to count. Okay, undo, 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 undo. Because I forgot to count. There it is. Okay. See what I moved it. I didn't want to move it. Object. Duplicate. Now I want to move it. And I want to make it 1 time smaller, 2 times smaller. That works. Now I want to take Joey's boat. Object, duplicate it. Put his over here. 1 time smaller, 2 times smaller. Now, we're going to get even more complicated. Just take Rachel's name. We're going to object, duplicate it. I'm going to bring it up here. We are going to make it significantly smaller. I think I'm going to put it here. I'm going to rotate it. And this is where you want to zoom in sometimes. So before I do that, I'm going to make my copy of Joey. Because otherwise I won't be able to see it when I zoom in. So let's take Rachel. Change the angle just a little bit. Scroll down. Make it a little smaller. Make it a little smaller. Move it to there. Click off of it. Not quite. Go back to Rachel. Let's bring it down here. The angle looks good. That'll work. So now we'll scroll over. We're going to take our Joey. We're going to rotate it over. I'm going to make it smaller a little bit. Bring him up here. Check our angle again. Needs to get significantly smaller. We're going to have a small issue putting it there because of the tail on the Y. Close enough. Okay, so now we zoom back out. And what we have here is a mug. The way we're going to do it, this mug wraps around this way. This is going to start here. It's going to have Joey's sailboat. You're going to wrap to the middle. You're going to have a happy couple, happy together. Around the other side, it's going to have Rachel's sailboat. Skyline in the back, the clouds, the sun, the grass, happy together. On this side, you're going to have Rachel. So when the cups are together on the shelf, you're going to see Rachel and her sailboat and Joey and his sailboat. If you turn it around the other side, you'll see Rachel's sailboat and Joey's sailboat. All right. I like it. I think it works good. Whether it does or not, don't know. But now we're going to go, okay, we've decided this is we're done. So now you have a couple options. You can produce a product mock-up maker, which will then give you this, and you can click download. You can give it a name, and this will be, we'll do it, Joey Rachel couple mug. Okay, and you hit OK, and it is going to save it, or ask you where to save it. I'm saving it in the downloads, and it saves it as a PNG. So it'll save it. If we go to our downloads file, and we see Joey and Rachel couple mug, and we open it. Oh, I haven't figured out what I was going to do yet. We'll just open it in Photos. I'm just reconfiguring this computer. And there's something you can send to a client that says, you know, here it is. Problem is that this one, it really doesn't show well what is going to be what. So I'm not a big fan of the mock-up maker, but it does work. If you're doing something on a t-shirt, it'll show the actual t-shirt outline. So if you want to put, if you're doing something to post to the web, it's not a bad thing. When we're done with that, we can close it. Now we're done. So we've decided we're finished. And now you have two choices. If this is your first draft, meaning you haven't shown it to the client yet, then you want to save it. And it's going to save it under your templates. And you can save it two ways: as an editable template, meaning that's something that you are going to need to go back and make changes, or you're going to actually do it as a non-editable template. And it would save it as an image in your image storage area. I haven't had to do that yet. So again, you got to give it another name. Joey Rachel mug. And you click OK. Now it's saved it. Text is too tall for bounds. Oh. Minimum text size sale exceeded. That's telling me that I made my text too small. That is something I've never run into before. Well, what do you know? I guess I get to keep going. And we'll have to figure this one out. Well, it should work. Let me just try if I just go to a print. Well, it did the mock-up maker, so maybe in, oh, it's trying as a save. It's a rejecting it because the text is too small. So we're just going to go straight to a print. You can't save this. You'd have to recreate it. Not exactly something I'd want to do, but again, now we're going to go to print. We're going to go Joey Rachel mug again. Oh, brought it up. You can set your quantity. You can include a bleed line if you want to. I don't. And you hit OK. Now what it's going to do is it brings it up here. Now at this point in time, you have two choices. You can click here to print. Which will then bring you to making it a download. Creates a Sawgrass job in whatever folder you've identified. The Virtuoso Print Manager, if it's scanning that, will immediately bring it up for you to print out to your sublimation printer right away. You set the substrate, you set the paper. I'm not going to cover that all in this one. That's that. Another thing you can do, in that previous screen, it showed ready to print, the green. It also could X out. If you X'd out, what you can do is you can come up here to your administration page. That takes you to your administration page where it shows every single design that you've ever printed. So if I go to page 8, it will show me there's my Joey and Rachel mug. There's a bone ornament I did as a test on the demo video. There's a mug I did for my sister. So all of your prior jobs are there. I don't know how many it'll actually hold on to, but it's there. So we're going to go back to the design. Oh, that's right. I got to go to the designer from here. Nice thing about that is the only bad thing about that is once you go to administration, the design you're working on is gone. Since I wasn't able to save it because I made my text too small, it's gone. If I wanted to recreate that, I got to start from scratch. Now, the other thing you can do is you can cancel out of this. And if you'll notice, it doesn't let you do anything. So you have to start with a base product. So if you know what you're doing, you can do it, but you should know what you're doing before you step into the software. I don't know if anybody's actually out here watching. No one's made a comment yet. But this has been a fun exercise. Went a little bit longer because I had that issue. But we are going to sign out and end this stream. It will be posted up tomorrow to my YouTube page. So anybody who didn't show up today, feel free to watch the video. Comment, please. Suggestions, other products you'd like to see, whether you liked it, didn't like it, any problems with the audio or video, anything that like that of that nature would be great. I appreciate everybody coming along for this little journey, and hopefully I get better and we can all learn something. This is Dennis signing off as soon as I click the right button.